What if those moments when you felt, I've been here before, those sudden intuitions, those instances when life unfolded with uncanny precision, weren't coincidences, but rather the result of your mind bending reality without you even knowing it? There was a scientist who once stepped into that realm, but instead of being celebrated, he disappeared without a trace. Only one experiment remained, banned, denied, and hidden by some of the most powerful forces on this planet. The Vatican knew about it, the CIA knew, and ancient civilizations had preserved a version of the same secret. That experiment required just one thing: repeat a single phrase exactly 100 times, with absolute focus. And then you would begin to see seemingly random events rearranging, as if an invisible hand was writing a script just for you. Your phone rings at the perfect moment. A crucial message arrives as though someone read your mind, and what you need shows up right in front of you, beyond explanation. This isn't a sugar-coated law of attraction. This is quantum neuroscience, where thoughts don't just affect emotions, but alter the structure of matter itself. The phrase you're about to learn isn't just motivational. It is a code designed to influence the region of your brain that filters reality and reprogram destiny. I tested it on 12 different people, and within 72 hours, they each described something strange. Life began responding to them. It was no longer about living in the world. It was about the world mirroring their mind. I'm not here to sell you nonsense. And you, with a mind that seeks, grab a cup of coffee, hit play, and let's begin this experiment right now. The question is, who was behind it all? Not a mystic or a stage motivator. It was a neuroscientist, Jacobo Grinberg, an ordinary man like you, like me, but with a mind deep enough to see what most dare not even look at. Grinberg didn't study the physical world. He delved into the inner architecture of human consciousness. And there, he discovered something that many ancient civilizations once knew, but no one dared declare. Consciousness doesn't just perceive reality, it creates it. That's the boldest leap science has ever nearly taken, and it's also the reason Grinberg vanished. I didn't say went missing, I said was erased. All research, all notes, even the smallest clue about him, gradually disappeared from history, most mysteriously. But you know what? A piece of the truth slipped through the cracks. And I want you to truly think about this. If it were nonsense, why hide it? If his claims were baseless, why would the world's most powerful institutions need to silence him? Grinberg touched a delicate point between mind and matter, and he left us with an open code, a phrase that can reprogram the subconscious frequency. No devices, no money, just precise repetition at the right time. So what is the code, and why was it erased? It is a deliberate neurological command. Grinberg measured how a phrase, if repeated correctly, could activate the reality control center in your brain. And once that happens, you no longer react to reality, you become its conductor. Just like entering a line of code into your operating system, the outer world must now respond accordingly. That phrase isn't long, it isn't poetic, but it is perfectly engineered in rhythm and structure, designed to cut through to the subconscious layer, where root programs about money, worthiness, and opportunity are stored. And most importantly, it only works when done during brain transition states, just before sleep or right after waking. Why then? Because that's when the gate between conscious and subconscious is open. And as you know, a message only enters when the door is open. Not 99 times, not 101 times, exactly 100 times. Precision is the key. Dear friend, some truths are hard to hear, but can set you free forever. We've heard a lot about the law of attraction. If you think positively, the universe will reward you. But let me be real with you. The universe doesn't operate like an emotional postal service. It doesn't send gifts just because you hoped for them. Here's the truth. You're not attracting anything. You are activating it from within your layers of consciousness. Your thoughts don't float through space. They alter the shape of quantum waves, the very fabric of all matter. Simply put, your consciousness is the finger pushing the manifest button. Not everyone likes to hear this because it means total responsibility. You can't say you want to change, then hold on to old fears, old beliefs, old emotions. because those are programming codes, and the world responds with absolute accuracy to those codes, not one line wrong. Grinberg didn't say, believe and it will come. He said, program it and reality will have no choice but to follow. The difference lies in intentional action. You're not someone waiting for life to knock. You are the one who builds the door. And if there's no door, you build one. So I'm not asking what you're hoping for. I'm asking, what signal are you emitting? Because you don't get what you want, you get what you broadcast. And that's not philosophy. That's physics, quantum physics. Here's what few are taught. Your brain doesn't show you the world as it is. It only shows you the world you've been programmed to see. And the main region responsible for that is the anterior cingulate cortex, or what I simply call the reality filter gate. It works like the lens of a tinted pair of glasses. Program it with doubt and you'll only see obstacles. Program it with a clear belief and you'll notice paths others walk past without seeing. And the secret lies in a phrase repeated exactly 100 times at the moment your brain is most receptive. That time isn't during the day, not when you're stressed. It's the moment you're about to fall asleep, or just after you wake. That's when your brain enters alpha-theta state, a zone extremely open to reprogramming. No pills, no 8-hour meditations, just 100 repetitions. You'll feel something strange. Around the 60th repetition, your heart begins to warm. By the 80th, your mind starts to expand. And on the 100th, you know you've just done something that 99% of the world has never dared try. Command your brain to stop rejecting the good. Do you know what that means? It means from that moment on, you are no longer just noticing opportunity, you are beginning to create it. And that's when the game changes. It's no longer if, but when. No longer hopefully, but I know. And when you know, so does the universe. You see, repeating a phrase sounds simple, but to trigger a new stream of reality, you need 3 core elements, just like plugging the right voltage into the right socket at the right moment. Miss one and nothing happens. Align all 3 and reality listens. First, timing. Don't do it when you're rushed. Don't do it when your mind is tense. Choose the moment right as you wake up, before consciousness is flooded, or right before you fall asleep, as the brain slips into alpha-theta. That is the narrow gate between logic and the subconscious. A fragile moment, yet supremely powerful. Second, emotion. This is not a test. You're not repeating to see if it works. You're declaring as someone who already has it. No begging, no doubt, just unshakable clarity. You say it as the operator of this system, not as someone pleading for it to function. Third, precision. You don't say it 98 times and think close enough. No, 100 means 100. You're engaging with a mechanism like a password. Each repetition is a character in the code. Miss one, the door doesn't open. This isn't superstition, it's discipline. And the universe, always responds not to your hopes, but to your level of commitment. So if you're truly ready not just to say it, but to do it right, completely, precisely, then reality will begin doing something it's never done before. Listen to you. Now I want you to deeply reflect on this, because if you've done exactly what I've just shared, with the right timing, the right mindset, and the exact number of repetitions, you'll begin to see things that others call coincidence, but you'll know are consequences. And I call that the moment of transition, from coincidence to synchronicity. One of the most fascinating things I've observed in people who seriously practice this technique is that they begin to feel confused by happiness, because no one is ever truly prepared for the moment when life suddenly listens to them. Someone said they just thought of a person and that person texted them. Someone needed money urgently to handle a family matter, and within a day, a sum of money came from a place they never even imagined, showing up at the perfect time. I remember a friend of mine, she just wanted her health back after 3 years of chronic illness. After a few nights of doing the repetition ritual, not only did she sleep well, but her medical numbers began to improve. The doctor called it a coincidence. She just smiled, because she knew It was no longer a coincidence. You see, here's something important I want you to remember. These things don't happen to surprise you. They happen because you emitted the right signal. The universe doesn't reward you for being good. It simply responds to the frequency you transmit. And when you broadcast clarity, certainty, without hesitation, then the events in your life begin to move as if directed. That's not magic. That's the synchronization of an awakened mind. And if you're wondering, can this happen to me? Then I only have one question in return. Do you have the courage to act as if it already has? Now pay close attention, because this is where even the most capable people can stumble. When you realize that reality can be reprogrammed, that a repeated phrase said enough times can cause events to unfold as if orchestrated, you'll find yourself standing at a crossroads. One path leads to illumination, the other to control. And Grinberg, the man who paid the price for discovering this truth, didn't just leave behind a formula. He left behind a warning that if you use this technique only to satisfy your ego, to prove to others, I can control everything, then you are placing yourself in a field of distortion. He called it cognitive dissonance. What does that mean? It means you start breaking the natural flow of reality. You try to force it into a mold of your own making, not based on inner sincerity, but on personal ambition, fear of lack, or habitual control. And what happens then? The luck you thought you had starts to unravel. Plans fall apart, promises dissolve, and you return to the old cycle, not because the technique didn't work, but because you used it against the current. I share this not to scare you, but to awaken you, because reality is not manipulated by those who try to exploit it. It only collaborates with those who are truly in alignment. If you do this from your heart, to heal, to grow, to live more truthfully, every door will open. But if you do it just to see what happens or to grab something easily, the universe, as a highly intelligent system, will reflect exactly the intention you carry. And at that point, you're not changing reality, you're just creating your confusion. I want you to understand this. This technique is not a game, but a kind of ritual for programming reality. And like any powerful tool, it demands precision and inner discipline. No incense, no robes, no rituals required. Just you, your mind, and a clear decision that you're ready to change. Begin with stillness. Before sleep, when your conscious mind softens and your subconscious opens, you lie down, take a few deep breaths. And then you begin. No need to shout, no need to whisper. Simply repeat in your mind the phrase, "Everything is aligning perfectly in my favor right now." No additions, no guessing, no checking. Repeat it 100 times, not 99, not 101. For a simple reason, the frequency of this phrase is aligned with the alpha-theta brainwave rhythm, and being off-beat disrupts the entire process. And while you repeat, don't do it mechanically. You feel, you imagine every detail. An email arrives, a message sparks a new path, a random event opens a door. You don't need to know how it arrives, you just live in the truth that it has. And then don't tell this to a skeptic, not because of superstition, but because the energy of doubt creates quantum noise. They don't believe, they don't see, and they can unconsciously interfere with the flow that's coming toward you. Finally, record every sign, no matter how small. An unexpected call, a friend texting at the right time, an opportunity from an unlikely source. Recognition strengthens the effect. And at that point, you're no longer someone trying your luck. You are mastering reality through your frequency. After everything, I want you to pause and ask yourself one question, seriously, without rushing. Am I living by reflex or by design? Because, most people enter each day as a blurred copy of yesterday. They don't ask questions, they don't reprogram anything, they just react. And then, when things don't go their way, they say it's fate. But I tell you, destiny is not written in ink. It's written in signal, and that signal is you. Grinberg wasn't just a missing scientist. He is a reminder that if you go deep enough within, you will reach a place where reality has no choice but to listen to you. And if you pay attention, you'll see traces of it everywhere, in the strange decisions that changed your life, in the calls that came just in time, in the doors that only opened after one firm yes from within you. This isn't a story about blind belief. It's about belief refined, repeated, and disciplined into actual power. When you repeat something enough, in the right state, with the right emotion, you are sending a deliberate command into the operating layers of your brain, and the outer world begins to reconfigure. Now you stand before two doors, one familiar, where things happen by chance, one new way, where you stop repeating the past and begin to write your future, not with hope, but with design, not by luck, but by programming. And I ask you, the one listening to me now, which door will you step through? Change doesn't begin when the world shifts, it begins when you shift yourself. Personal reflection. I used to think all of this was just an illusion of control. But then I started testing it, and the scariest thing wasn't that it didn't work. It was that it worked in the strangest ways. No fireworks, no thunder, just a series of coincidences. The right people, right time, right place, beginning to line up like a sequence already calculated. I hope this video taught you something new and that it helps you in your life right now. Finally, I want to ask you, if you could repeat one phrase 100 times and change one aspect of your life, what would you choose? Have you ever experienced a moment that made you feel life is following a script? Are you willing to commit to testing this for the next 3 nights and observe what happens? Let me know your answers in the comments below.